Meanwhile, if okay, everyone soon has joined. Do you have any doubts, Paramjit? Meanwhile, everyone joins. Any sort of doubts can be addressed. So if you have any questions, any doubts, any concerns, you can call it out now. We can address those. Anyone? Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Am I audible? Okay, cool. So let's get started. Yesterday we went through waterfall model, right? तो वाटरफॉल मॉडल में वी हैव गॉन थ्रू दी स्टेजेस क्या थे हमारे रिक्वायरमेंट कलेक्शन वेयर इन बिजनेस एनालिस्ट गो टू द client side or connect with client and collect the requirement, create something called as CRS. Then now CRS needs to be converted into SRS. Why? Because CRS is in the business language and SRS will be in software language. That will be better to better understandable by the developers and testers. That's why we as a tester refer SRS, not CRS. Then the second stage is feasibility study, wherein everyone will take up the call whether to take this particular project or not. We have it's a sort of meeting wherein basically our business analyst, our product owner, sorry, not product owner. project manager, our finance manager, our architect and HR will be there. Every individual will take up the call whether that particular project is feasible from their particular stack perspective or not. For an example, the finance manager will take up the call whether the project is financially feasible or not. Architect will take up the call whether it is technically feasible or not. HR will take up the call whether it is feasible as part of human resource or not. And finally, project manager will take up the call whether to take this project or not. Then comes your design. Now when it comes to design, we have gone through, right, yesterday we have two levels of design: high level design, low level design. High level design is on the basically architectural level, server level architectural designing, and also request level architectural designing, whether basically how your request will be going to the server, how it will get served, and how the response will get generated and served to you. This is how we understood the high level designing. After that, we have low level designing. Under the low level designing, we do have one thing, basically it's just like a screen level or functionality level, the application level designing. It acts as a blueprint for the coding, and basically here we decide on a certain action, what type of behavior, what type of screen the user needs to see. Okay. Now, the basic idea is that after low level design, coding happens. Coding basically in this particular stage, referring to the low level design, the developer will develop the whole software A to Z. Then comes testing. Under testing, basically, what will happen? Under testing, basically, under testing, what will happen? The developer who's invested in development, he'll go to the testing phase, and he'll try to do a testing of the whole project at one go. So in this particular whole process, developer used to be the owner of these two stages earlier, but nowadays we used to separately hire testers, used to separately hire test engineers in order to do the testing. And also testing and development goes hands in hands, basically parallel. Earlier, what used to happen? The whole project is being developed, coded, and then the testing used to happen. But nowadays, few features got developed, testing will happen. Then another build will come with new features, testing will parallelly go on, right? And then we have understood installation. Under installation, we have understood basically two ways. One way, the client side field engineer and release engineer will come to you, and they will get to understand how to install the product, and then they'll go and they'll install in their own particular server. And another way, basically, your field engineer, your release engineer will go and install the software in the customer's server. Lastly, we have maintenance. Under maintenance, you will give a certain maintenance period to a particular project, wherein you might serve the few services like bug fixes and support for free, or might charge for few services like minor changes and all. And it depends totally upon the MOU. It depends totally upon the contract, what the project is being signed. Okay. Then we have certain advantages and disadvantages in application of waterfall model. Okay. So advantages are basically, since the requirement is freezed, we get a stable product. How this is an advantage to us? It is not an advantage to client, but it is an advantage to us as a IT company. Why? Because as you are freezing the requirement of the requirement collection stage, what exactly used to happen? You know that what exact product you need to develop when you are actually in the development phase. Okay. So if like day by day client used to come and he used to say that nahi isko aisa nahi banana hai, वैसे banana hai, वैसे nahi banana hai, वैसे banana hai. So at over the period of time, due to those changes, rapid changes, you might end up having not that stable product. But if the requirement is freezed from day one, you know that exactly what you need to develop, and you will end up developing a stable product which will not like shake anywhere. Okay. Which will not break anywhere. Okay. So that's one advantage for us, but a disadvantage for sure for the client. For an example, this disadvantages for client will be in this way, right? For an example, currently Zomato give the project to TCS before COVID that we need a software. Now after COVID, they want to after COVID hit, they want to update one more feature for groceries delivery, but basically they can't do it as they are following waterfall model. They are not allowing the requirement changes. So first Zomato needs to get the already requested product from the TCS, and then they can give the enhancement. Okay, on top of this you can develop this, then again it will take a lot of time. So basically the thing is that if you are following waterfall model anywhere, if the client is feeling that I need to have some sort of changes in the product, they can't just walk in and they can't just tell you that okay, I need these changes. So there might be chances at the end client will get some certain software which for which they are not, they might not be happy with, right? So because the changes are not there. So basically, so that's why we used to apply this waterfall model only on those kind of products which are basically whose requirements are actually fixed, which is not here and there. For an example, the application of calculator, you know, the requirement of calculator, the basic requirement of the calculator will remain same, it will not get changed that frequently, right? So basic idea is that in order to develop a certain software with the help of waterfall model, we need to make sure it's a small size project, it's a small term project, and basically the requirements are not that frequently changed, right? So that is the applications. But we have few more basically your disadvantage. Overall investment of the project is high. I'll repeat it again. Overall investment, the whole investment which we are putting in the project as a IT company will be high because of rework. Why we need to do rework? For an example, the business analyst is collecting a requirement, and if he has misunderstood something while collecting the requirement, or he has done some sort of mistake in conversion of CRS into SRS, what will happen? We will refer the same SRS. Developer will also refer the same thing. We will also refer the same, and if we refer the wrong requirement, we'll develop a wrong product. And when we propose it to the customer will reject that particular software. Why? Because this is something what they have not requested for, right? So basically they will say no, we don't want this, okay, and they will reject you and reject your software. And once after that, once you get the software rejected, you have to do rework in order to accommodate those changes which you have missed, right? So overall investment due to that reworks again and again will be very high. And it is because why? We are not at all testing the requirement, we are not reviewing the requirement whether it is correct or not, and secondary, we are not reviewing the designs. There might be chances that the person who is doing the designing thing, they have done some sort of mistake. If they will do some sort of mistake, we'll refer the same design and develop and test the software, and we will end up
Yes.
having rework. Sorry, someone is saying something. Yes, no, anything, guys? Hello, am I audible? Hello, am I audible? Ramchandra,
Yes, sir. Audible.
you guys are listening, right? What I'm trying to say. Cool. Everyone is clear with these points? Are we clear, guys? Cool. So let's take up to the third point. Requirement is not tested and design is not tested. And the it is the same point, right? If you are not reviewing this documents which on which your project is lying, and if you have defects in certain documents, then basically you will end up developing a wrong software which will end up having a rework. So these are the disadvantages. So basically other net if you want to understand that what exactly thing you need to do, what you need to apply on waterfall model, the exact thing on which you need to apply waterfall model is that wherein the term of the particular duration of the particular project is very not that vast. क्यों बोल रहा हूँ मैं ऐसे? Because here you are, if you carefully observe, right, in order to follow this whole process, you are trying to do what? You are trying to first of all completely develop the whole project and then deliver it to the customer. देखो ना, यहाँ requirement collection हो रहा है, feasibility study हो रही है, designing, coding, testing, installation. Coding the whole project and testing the whole project itself is a huge time duration process, right? So उसके बाद ही installation हो रहा है, उसके बाद ही तुम deliver कर रहे हो software को, किसको? Customer को. So in order to do this whole thing, if you take a huge project, if you take a large project, right, which is huge in size, basically that particular project will get complete in basically somewhere around 16 to 24 months, basically around 2 years it will take, somewhere around 1.5 to 2 years. So if customer has invested, because they are businesses, right, if they have invested millions of dollars in your project, they can't wait for 1.5 year or 2 year to get the returns on that particular investment, right? So they will just say that try to deliver fast. So if it is a huge size project, huge term project which will take a lot of time to get developed, don't go with waterfall model, because you are not at all delivering a single feature until and unless the whole project is getting developed. So that is the problem with waterfall model which agile had overcome. So agile में जो project तुम 8 महीने में बनाते हो, जो project तुम साल भर में बनाते हो, वो project तुम 6 महीने में बना सकते हो, whole project. How that will get to understand in agile classes, that's very important. It is always recommended for everyone to attend the classes live, right? Don't go with the don't rely on recording and all for agile. Okay, so basic idea is that this particular whole model is applicable on a certain projects wherein the shorter duration project is there, wherein requirement is not frequently getting changed or size of the project is also small. Getting my point? Any questions in waterfall model? Anyone? Anyone? Just know anything?
No,
Cool. So देखो second model है spiral model. Now spiral model as a, like, what is spiral? So spiral is basically spring or something like that, right? So the basic model idea is being inspired by the spiral, but here there is a catch. As I told you in earlier classes only, that if the requirement is different from the client side, you will end up following a different model which suits that particular requirement. Correct? So spiral model में catch ये है, the customer doesn't want to give you whole requirement at one go. They'll not give you requirement A to Z. They just give you one by one. They will give you one feature requirement. They will give you A requirement. You have to develop and deliver A. Then they will give you B requirement. You have to develop and deliver B. Similarly, it will go on, and at the end, you will have a whole software at your end. Basically, this way they will give the requirement. This way they want you to develop the software. Then you have to go with spiral model, because here we don't deliver the whole software. We deliver software feature by feature. Okay, one feature, then another feature, then another feature. Now in order to attain this particularly, you need to have a software which has a lot of dependency. Means, for an example, we do you guys know what is macro in Excel? Okay, let's not take this example, this might be more complex. So basically, you guys know paint and all, right? Paint in Microsoft. Paint is not Microsoft, right? In your Windows you might have that paint application, right? So basic idea is that if you want to develop 2D design or 3D design in that particular paint, so that 3D design will have dependency on another feature. In order to develop that particular 3D designing feature, you need to you guys have a dependency on basically simple features like drawing a line, filling up the color, drawing the shape, editing the particular shape, erasing, and basically making it. So in order to attain that 3D design feature, build this small feature, correct? Isn't it? So basic idea is that in those kind of application wherein you see that like very much dependency in that particular, the next feature has very much dependency in the earlier feature, that kind of project you always like try to go with a spiral model. Your customer is willing to give you the requirement in stages, right? For in this particular example, if you want to create a graph, first you need to have a cell. In Excel you need to have a cell wherein you can input the data. Then you need to have basically your operations in that particular cell. You should be able to add it, you should be able to subtract it, you should be able to erase or edit any kind of data. Then you need to have a graph feature. This graph feature will directly have a dependency on operation. Operation will be directly having a dependency on cell. So if this kind of dependency is there in the feature requirement, you can go with spiral model as you are developing feature by feature. First you will develop cell, then you will develop operation, then you will develop graph. Getting my point? Guys, yes, no, anything?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Now like unlike your waterfall model, we have like somewhere around 7 stages. We do have only 4 stages here in spiral model. Very easy to understand, just try to concentrate. Okay, for unlike waterfall model, basically you don't collect the whole requirement, but just you collect one by one. So first client will give you requirement number A. You will start doing the requirement collection of A, the first phase of spiral model. Then you will do designing of A, then you will do coding of A, then you will do testing of A, and then deliver it to the customer. Once the customer is agreeing, once the customer says, yeah, I like this particular feature, they will give you next feature. Now on top of this A, you will develop B. So first you will do requirement collection of B, designing of B, coding of B, testing of B, and then delivery. Once they are approving this field, they are approving this particular software version, they will give you new requirement of C. Then you will do requirement collection of C. Now in this whole process, you might basically do while testing, they might basically raise some sort of defect, you fix it, and then this process will keep on going internally. But basic idea is that this is how the flow works. First the requirement collection, then the designing, then the coding, then the testing, and then delivery. Once you get the approval, you will get new requirement. Getting my point? This way, this will keep on going and going, and at the end, you will have whole A to Z feature in your hand. Got the understanding?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Now there is few more things. Unlike waterfall model, in spiral model, requirement changes are allowed. Anywhere requirement changes are allowed. Once you complete a cycle, the customer can give the requirement changes in already existing feature also, which you have delivered earlier. For an example, we have delivered earlier A, and they are currently giving the requirement of B. They can give me the changes on A also. This is also allowed. Okay, so basic idea is that if they are giving a minor changes, means whatever they are giving the updation on, for an example, they are giving the updation on A, if those changes are minor, you can take that particular work with the new feature requirement. Here we are collecting the new feature requirement of B. So these two things can go parallelly. New feature requirement plus minor changes can go parallelly. This can happen parallelly and complete the cycle. But if the changes in A is major, you are not at all allowed to take the new feature requirement. I will repeat one more time. हिंदी में भी बोलता हूँ. यहाँ पर रूल ये है, अगर माइनर चेंजेस है, यूआई चेंजेस है, सपोज कर लो सिर्फ टेक्स्ट चेंज करना है या डिजाइन चेंज करना है, यूआई चेंजेस है, माइनर चेंजेस है, तो यू कैन टेक अप दैट पर्टिकुलर माइनर चेंजेस वाला रिक्वायरमेंट प्लस जो नया फीचर का रिक्वायरमेंट आ रहा है, दैट कैन बी एक्सेप्टेड एंड दैट कैन कंप्लीट द साइकिल. मतलब रिक्वायरमेंट कलेक्शन हो सकता है दोनों का एक साथ, डिजाइनिंग हो सकती है, कोडिंग हो सकती है, टेस्टिंग हो सकती है, डिलीवरी हो सकती है. बट अगर मेजर चेंजेस है कोई भी, फॉर एन एग्जांपल, जो अगर ए के में जो चेंजेस वो देना चाह रहे हैं, व्हेन यू आर कलेक्टिंग द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ बी, इफ दोस चेंजेस आर मेजर चेंजेस, तो तुम क्या बोलोगे? आई विल टेक अप द मेजर चेंजेस फर्स्ट, and basically this new feature requirement we can't take as we will not have a capacity. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो टाइम क्रंच होता है और उतना रिसोर्स भी नहीं होता है कि तुम ये पूरा काम कंप्लीट कर लो. रिसोर्स मतलब बेसिकली तुम कितने लोग काम कर रहे हो, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स की बात हो रही है. ठीक है. So the rule is that with minor changes, requirement changes, new particular requirement can be taken, but with major changes, new particular requirement cannot be taken. Are we clear, guys? यही है स्पाइरल मॉडल, इसमें और कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. सबको समझ में आ गया?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
कूल। अब देखो यहाँ पर कुछ इसके भी एडवांटेजेस डिसएडवांटेजेस और एप्लीकेशन है। तुम हर मॉडल को हर जगह यूज नहीं कर सकते, ठीक है? तो इसलिए ये अलग अलग मॉडल बनाए गए हैं। तो इसका भी कुछ एडवांटेजेस और डिसएडवांटेजेस है। सो एडवांटेज तो यही है, यहाँ रिक्वायरमेंट कलेक्शन अलाउड है। ये किसके लिए एडवांटेज? क्लाइंट के लिए एडवांटेज है। वो कभी भी तुमको चेंजेस दे सकता है और एट द एंड ना क्लाइंट विल गेट सेटिस्फाइड कि हाँ ठीक है, हमने जो रिक्वायरमेंट चेंजेस बोले थे इन लोगों ने करके दे दिए। तो हम रिक्वायरमेंट चेंजेस करेंगे तो हमको क्या दो चीज की और जरूरत पड़ेगी अपार्ट फ्रॉम आवर वर्क? एक होगा फंड जो वो लोग देंगे हम लोगों को एज पार्ट ऑफ द रिक्वायरमेंट चेंज, एंड सेकेंडरी बेसिकली, बहुत ज्यादा साउंड आ रहा है क्या बैकग्राउंड से?
No, sir.
ओके तो एक होगा फंड जो वो हम लोग को एज पार्ट ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट चेंज देंगे, एंड सेकेंडरी होगा बेसिकली तुम्हारा वो क्या बोलते हैं, टाइम। अगर वो लोग कोई रिक्वायरमेंट चेंजेस अलाउड कर रहे हैं और प्रोजेक्ट का बहुत सारा रिक्वायरमेंट चेंजेस, तो समझ लो कि दे आर गिविंग यू अ लॉट ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट चेंजेस in every next cycle, and you have commit a due date of that delivery of that particular project at 21st January. तुमको 2 ही 3 महीने बचा है, तो obviously you will not be able to complete that work in that particular span of time. So due to those requirement changes you should get a more amount of time in order to complete it, because eventually क्या होगा, अगर तुम time पे deliver नहीं करोगे they will ask you for fines and penalties and all that you shouldn't do, right? So यहाँ पर ये दो चीजों का भी ध्यान रखते हैं भाई। देखो मेजरली यू डोंट हैव टू वरी अबाउट एनीथिंग, तुम्हारा काम है टेस्टिंग का, ठीक है? बट ये जो होल प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट होती है ये तुमको पता होना चाहिए। अगर तुम बाई चांस स्पाइरल मॉडल पे काम कर रहे हो, जो कि बहुत कम चांस है, इट इज नॉट दैट वाइडली यूज, तो तुमको पता होना चाहिए कि फुल साइकिल हाउ द होल प्रोजेक्ट इज रनिंग, राइट? ठीक है, सो इस पर्पज से तुमको सारी चीजें एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है? Then comes, once after requirement collection of for an example one module, a module designing will happen, then coding will happen, then testing will happen, and testing will be also done by developer here also, because ये भी earlier development earlier developed model में से एक है जहाँ पर testing का concept था but testers का concept नहीं था। After testing will give the software to module to the customer, and then customer will also test it once. After that we'll get to the next module once we get the approval from the customer, ठीक है? वो देंगे फिर रिक्वायरमेंट दूसरे मॉड्यूल की, हम लोग दूसरे मॉड्यूल के ऊपर जंप कर देंगे, ठीक है? देन कम्स डिसएडवांटेजेस। डिसएडवांटेजेस क्या है? रिक्वायरमेंट्स आर नॉट टेस्टेड। अब देखो यहाँ पर ही कोई मिस्टेक होगा, रिक्वायरमेंट करेक्शन में कोई मिस्टेक होगा या डिजाइनिंग में कोई मिस्टेक होगा, वो कोडिंग और टेस्टिंग में फॉल करेगा ही, क्योंकि यही दो डॉक्यूमेंट रिफर करके हम कोड और टेस्ट करते हैं। So if these particular document has the defect, basically they will develop the software incorrectly, will test the software incorrectly, will deliver it, and customer will reject it, will again have to do rework. So basically ये एक disadvantage है। यहाँ पे भी ये overcome नहीं हुआ है, waterfall में भी था, यहाँ पे भी है। Testing is a critical phase done by developer. Now developer, तुमको मैंने पहले ही बता चुका है why developer shouldn't do the testing, as they have developed their product, the capability of like seeing it with the negative point of view will be very less. And also एक और एग्जांपल दिया था, if you're seeing over the period, if you're seeing over the period of time that you are building something, so you can't see exact changes, you can't observe it in that level. As you're seeing over the period of time, you become used to of seeing it like that. So basically that is also one more reason. Then comes application. When to apply the spiral model? Whenever customer gives you requirement in stages, whenever there is a dependency. Okay. Whenever there is a dependency on feature, the next feature has a dependency of on the earlier feature, you go with spiral model. Customer give the requirement in stages one by one, you go with spiral model. Any questions in here, guys? हाँ ना, कुछ तो बोल लो यार guys. Hello, any questions? Anjali, Apurva,
Yes, sir. No, sir.
yes sir, no so, okay,
No,
okay
sir.
sir,
No question.
okay sir, ठीक है, cool. So इसके बाद होता है प्रोटोटाइप। अब देखो प्रोटोटाइप एक ऐसा मॉडल है ना जो एक्चुअली काम का है बहुत, बट जिसमें टाइम बहुत जाता है और एफर्ट बहुत जाता है। सो प्रोटोटाइप इज द आइडिया ऑफ प्रोटोटाइप इज, मैं तुमको हाई लेवल में बताऊं ना, व्हाट इज द आइडिया ऑफ हैविंग अ प्रोटोटाइप मॉडल।
द आइडिया इज दैट जो लोगों को ये पता ही नहीं है कि सॉफ्टवेयर क्या कर सकता है उनके लिए, फॉर एन एग्जांपल देयर आर सर्टेन कस्टमर्स which doesn't give the requirement at that level जो होना चाहिए, and also they don't have understanding what software can do with their business. For an example, if I own a restaurant, ठीक है, I own a restaurant, I give you the requirement, I tell you that I want a software wherein I can do the employee management. I need to have a software wherein I need one feature wherein customer should be able to book the table, another feature wherein I can manage my staff and I can give them salaries and I can manage the records and all, right? I give just 2 or 3 requirement of my software, I give it to you, and the IT guy can sense that I am not having that much clarity on my own requirement. If even though I'm giving the requirement, I'm not that clear with the requirement itself. So वो क्या करेगा, वो प्रोटोटाइप मॉडल पे जाएगा. प्रोटोटाइप मॉडल का क्या होता है, रिक्वायरमेंट कलेक्शन होता है, फिजिबिलिटी स्टडी होती है, देन एक प्रोटोटाइप डिजाइन एंड डेवलप किया जाता है बेस्ड ऑन द अर्लियर रिक्वायरमेंट गिवन बाय द कस्टमर. वो प्रोटोटाइप टेस्ट होता है, वो प्रोटोटाइप डेमो होता है कस्टमर के सामने. अब एज अ रेस्टोरेंट ओनर, इफ आई डोंट नो व्हाट सॉफ्टवेयर कैन डू, बट इफ आई सी एंड actually see how software works and how software can do help in my business, I will get more understanding, right? So मेरे को वो लोग प्रोटोटाइप दिखाएंगे, once I see the prototype I'll get the understanding, okay this is how it works, then I'll give more requirement. Okay, can you add one more स्टॉक मैनेजमेंट फीचर इन हियर, जहां पर मैं अपना एम्प्लॉय मैनेजमेंट के साथ साथ एक और मॉड्यूल डालना चाहता हूँ जहां पर मैं पूरा अपना स्टॉक मैनेज कर सकूं, और मेरे को एनालिटिक्स भी चाहिए कि कितना परसेंट ग्रोथ हो रहा है, कितना परसेंट लॉस हो रहा है, और इस तरीके का कुछ और फीचर्स भी चाहिए अगर सॉफ्टवेयर पे. सो बेसिक आइडिया इज दैट इफ आई एम सीइंग अ सॉफ्टवेयर बाय माई सेल्फ in terms of prototype or anything, I will get better understanding. We all are human. We understand things moreover by seeing things rather than just on paper things, right? Basically, if we see it, if we see it working, or if we see it in the form of graphics and all, we'll get better understanding. So same works with client also. If they see the prototype of the application, they will get a better understanding and they will end up giving us more beautified requirement, more brief requirement, more in-depth requirement basically. Okay, so basic idea is that that's the idea of prototype, to give a better clarity to the customer so that they can give us more requirement. So ये देखो पूरा सेम होता है, the stages are same, just यहाँ पर change होता है designing से पहले. When you do the requirement collection, business analysts do the requirement collection, then you do the feasibility study. After feasibility study, you based on this particular requirement, you design and develop a prototype. Once that prototype is developed, you test the prototype. Here test engineer test the prototype. First of all, here we have test engineer in action. Okay, so basically test engineer test the prototype, we demo this prototype. Now on after seeing this prototype, customer will give more requirement. That's why they kept this whole 4 stages under one requirement collection stage only. We call this whole 4 stages under requirement collection only under prototype. Although you have to describe all 4, but ये पूरा requirement collection stage के अंदर ही आ जाता है, because all these things we are doing like designing and developing a prototype and testing a prototype and demoing it, all these things we are doing in order to generate a thought process in the customer's head so that we can get a beautified requirement. So once we collect all the full finished requirement from the customer side, we'll start on the actual project. Here we design the actual project, here we code the actual project, test the actual project, install the actual project, and do the maintenance of actual project. Got the understanding everyone?
Yes, sir.
सबको समझ में आया 100%?
Yes, sir.
Cool. अब देखो प्रोटोटाइप होते हैं 2 टाइप के, एक होता है स्टैटिक प्रोटोटाइप, एक होता है डायनामिक प्रोटोटाइप. प्रोटोटाइप का मतलब क्या होता है बेसिकली, फॉर किसी को कुछ अंडरस्टैंडिंग है व्हाट इज एग्जैक्टली प्रोटोटाइप? प्रोटोटाइप होता क्या है?
सैंपल.
सैंपल बोल सकते, करेक्ट.
Demo.
और डेमो, हाँ करेक्ट, एग्जैक्टली डेमो. फॉर एन एग्जांपल, अगर हम 10 लोग है ना क्लास के, 10 लोग मिलके एक कार डेवलप कर रहे हैं, वी आर ट्राइंग टू डेवलप अ कार एंड वी वांट इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉम शार्क टैंक. सबको पता है ना शार्क टैंक? तो हम लोगों को क्या करना पड़ेगा, हम लोग को एटलीस्ट एक वर्किंग प्रोटोटाइप बना के लेके जाना पड़ेगा वहां पर, हो सकता है उसमें फुल फिनिश्ड प्रोडक्ट ना दिखाएं हम, बट प्रोटोटाइप दिखाएंगे, करेक्ट। तो प्रोटोटाइप में क्या क्या होना चाहिए, ये सम एक्सटेंट तक फंक्शनिंग होना चाहिए। तो कार का डिजाइन मैं दिखा सकता हूँ प्रोटोटाइप में, और कार का इंजन दिखा सकता हूँ, इंजन का डिजाइन दिखा सकता हूँ। हो सकता है मेरे कार में इंटीरियर ना हो सकता है मेरे कार में हैंड ब्रेक ना हो सकता है मेरे कार में फुल फुल मेटेलिक फ्रेम और एलॉय व्हील्स ना हो, बट एक डिजाइन पर्पज से मैं उसको डेमो दिखाऊंगा ताकि उसके दिमाग पे उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट का इमेज बन जाए जो फुल फिनिश्ड प्रोडक्ट होने वाला है, सो दैट दे कैन गिव द इन्वेस्टमेंट। समझ रहे हो? So the thing is that prototype is not the actual product, but it will help the second person to imagine the actual product, what exactly it needs to be, what exactly it will be at the end of the development. Okay, so prototype is basically demo, sample, whatever word you can use. It's resembles, or it resembles the basic actual project, but it is not full finished product. It's just a half developed to give the understanding to the other person. ठीक है, अब ये स्टैटिक और डायनेमिक सॉफ्टवेयर में कैसे होता है? स्टैटिक प्रोटोटाइप बेसिकली तुम्हारा जीरो नेविगेशन के साथ आता है। मैं तुमको दिखाता हूं। Why used to translate to Telugu every time when I launch it? देखो कहाँ यार कोई अच्छा सा I always struggle in finding the right prototype in Figma design. इसको एज एन एग्जांपल लेते हैं। अरे यार इसमें इतनी लाइंस क्यों ड्रॉ करके रखा उसी को दिखाने के लिए। कूल, नाउ दिस इज एन एक्यूरेट एग्जांपल। देखो ये है स्टैटिक प्रोटोटाइप। वाओ, दिस व्हेन आई जूम आउट इट, गिव मी अ सेकंड। This is a static prototype. Why am I saying this is a static prototype? Because ये सिर्फ तुमको डिजाइन दिखाता है. This will tell you that okay, the fonts will look like this, the tabs will look like this, the profile will appear here, there will be 3 tabs or something like that. But when you tap on message, it will not navigate to message. समझ रहे हो? It will not do navigation process, but it will be like paintings, or it will be like drawings and all. That will give you a understanding how it will look. समझ रहे हो? ये look दिखाएगा तुमको सॉफ्टवेयर का कैसा रहेगा. It will tell you the alignments and all. It will tell you on basic level how software will look. Okay. But dynamic prototype में क्या होता है? If you tap on this message, no, it will navigate to message. Although you will have zero message and it will be not fully function. If you try to type a message and send it to another person, it will not deliver. समझ रहे हो? That is the difference between static prototype and dynamic prototype. Static prototype will not at all have any kind of interaction from your end. It will be just 2D design. If you tap or click or anywhere, it will nothing will be functioning, not even the navigation. But dynamic prototype, it will function for some extent. The navigation thing will work from your end. It will give a better understanding to the customer that how software will look and feel at the end of the development. समझ गए सब लोग?
Yes, sir.
So ये basically ऐसे ही होता है. Figma is a perfect example to understand the designs and all. Figma एक application है. Figma जैसे बहुत सारे other application you can see that Protopie. This is also an application to develop a prototype. So basic idea is that if your designer is providing a 2D design, a static design, 2D design ही होगा वैसे तो basically static design, तो basically it will not at all function. And if for that they have to create multiple screen. देखो यहाँ पर इसमें to dos के लिए एक screen लगाई है, या messages के लिए एक ही screen लगाई है, ऐसे ही third tab के लिए भी इसको एक screen लगानी पड़ी है. बट अगर ये डायनेमिक प्रोटोटाइप होता तो एक ही पर्टिकुलर स्क्रीन बनाता, वो यहाँ टैप करने से वो मैसेज में स्विच हो जाता है, यहाँ टैप करने से वो मेमोज में स्विच हो जाता. ठीक है. So that is the basic difference of static prototype and dynamic prototype. Okay, got it? So अभी मैंने बताया तुमको कि तुम्हारा प्रोटोटाइप क्या होता है, डिजाइन होता है, डेवलप होता है, एंड देन टेस्ट भी होता है. डिजाइन एंड डेवलपमेंट तो तुम्हारा हेडेक नहीं है, हेडेक है तुम्हारा टेस्टिंग. तो प्रोटोटाइप को भी टेस्ट करना होता है. तो क्या क्या टेस्ट करते हैं हम लोग एग्जैक्टली प्रोटोटाइप में? प्रोटोटाइप टेस्टिंग इज डन बाय टेस्ट इंजीनियर. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, प्रोटोटाइप टेस्टिंग आर testing against the requirement. Basically you will test this particular whole prototype against the requirement. If the requirement is saying this many features should be there, you will validate कि वो features है कि नहीं है, उसी order में है कि नहीं है. You can check the look and feel. You can check all the contents are present or not, in a perfect alignment, in a perfect order or not, and then navigation check कर सकते हो if it is a dynamic prototype. इसके अलावा तुम basically उस prototype में और कुछ ज्यादा check कर नहीं सकते हो. ठीक है? Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So
Yes,
this is
sir.
all about prototype. Prototype में यही होता है. These part is being changed. Apart from this, whole thing remains same as waterfall model. इसमें कोई other change नहीं है apart from these two stages. ठीक है? Okay, let's go to the advantages, disadvantages, and basically your application. So advantage ये है, it improves the communication of developer and testers and customer. How it improves the communication? If you are working on basically before this actual project development, if you are working on a prototype, if you have any doubts in requirement, and if they have any doubts in requirement, developer and us can reach out to customer or business analyst. That will improve the communication. While development of prototype only, if you find anything which is not working fine, you will reach out to developer. Developer will reach out to you. The communication bridge, the icebreaker can be there within the prototype development, so that when you are actually working on the actual project, you will not have to worry about whom to reach out, when to connect, and all kind of stuff. So the communication when you are developing the actual product will be way more smoother, just because you have already done some sort of communication while developing a prototype. That is one point. Customer will get to know what kind of project will be delivered at the on the लास्ट डे ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट. ओके, बेसिकली ये बोल रहा है कि एक एडवांटेज ये भी है कि कस्टमर विल नॉट गेट टू नो कि द लास्ट स्टेज ऑफ एट द लास्ट डेट ओनली व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द प्रोजेक्ट विल लुक लाइक. अनलाइक योर वाटरफॉल मॉडल ना, वाटरफॉल मॉडल में जब तक तुम डिलीवर नहीं करते थे, द कस्टमर विल नॉट गेट टू नो दैट कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ प्रोडक्ट विल बी डिलीवर्ड. सो बेसिक आइडिया इज दैट here when you show the prototype, they will get the understanding what exactly they will have at the end of the product, at the end of the project. Okay, so basically that is there. That's again a advantage. Developer will also have a better clarity at the beginning only what exactly needs to be developed, what exactly needs to be delivered. While developing the prototype, you will gather the points from the customer, what exactly they want, they can see and they can tell you. So basically the developer and tester will know that what is the expectation of the customer side, which helps in development of actual project. Doing modification prototype is very less expensive than the doing modification in actual project. अभी देखो तुम यहाँ पर अगर in case they have done some sort of a mistake in requirement collection and also, right, you will develop prototype and they will reject prototype. अब वो design में change करना, it will hardly take 2 to 3 minutes. But in actual project में change करना, you have to go to the code and do the changes and then raise a PR, raise a like basically request to the source code, and they will merge the source code. It will be a lot time consuming and expensive process compared to doing changes in prototype. Prototype is a minutes of change, hours of change kind of stuff, right? So basically this will get overcome basically, and then requirement when requirement is not tested, basically that thing can be overcome here at some extent, not fully. Because chances are there कि हो सकता है जब यहाँ पर तुम रिक्वायरमेंट टेस्टिंग के बाद भी रिक्वायरमेंट कलेक्शन कर रहे हो, तब भी हो सकता है तुम कुछ मिस्टेक कर दो, एंड दैट इज नॉट टेस्टेड हियर. एक्चुअल प्रोजेक्ट डिजाइनिंग इज आल्सो नॉट टेस्टेड, सो इट विल बी देयर, बट वो बहुत कम हो जाएगा रिक्वायरमेंट कलेक्शन के लिए, एज यू हैव डिस्प्लेड द प्रोटोटाइप. चांसेस कम हो जाएंगे. ठीक है, just disadvantages इसके क्या है, just to improve the communication between developer, customer and test engineer, initial investment is very high. इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट क्यों हाई है? ऑब्वियसली देखो यहाँ पर डेवलपमेंट एंड डिजाइनिंग के लिए और टेस्टिंग के लिए तुमको डेवलपर और टेस्टर्स लगेंगे. Earlier when you are hiring those, when you are onboarding those designers, developer and testers in the coding and testing stage, but अभी तुमको requirement collection के बाद ही लगेंगे. Why? Because you have to do the prototype. So initial investment जो हो जाता है, जब प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट होता है तब का इन्वेस्टमेंट जो हो जाता है वो बहुत हाई हो जाता है इससे, बिकॉज यू हैव टू पे for a longer duration of time and also initially you have to onboard everyone. So that is there. ठीक है. इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट इसका बहुत ज्यादा हो जाता है compared to other project, just because you want to work on a prototype and get the communication done with everyone and also get the requirement from the customer end. There will be a lot of delay in starting of an actual project. You have invested a lot of time in prototype. So basic idea is that अगर तुम देखोगे तो यहाँ पर ज्यादा टाइम लग जाएगा in development and testing of prototype. So actual project का starting में there will be a lot of delay. But on the other hand, after prototype you will have a crystal clear clarity on the requirement and all. So you will complete this particular all these stages in a faster way, as you have seen the product also earlier. So basically it will be faster process overall, but delay will be there at initial stage. Okay. So when to go with this prototype model? Whenever customer is not having clarity on their own requirement, go with waterfall model. Prototype model. Basically जब भी कस्टमर के पास इतना क्लैरिटी नहीं होता है, तुमको लगता है कस्टमर इज अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट ऑन द रिक्वायरमेंट एंड कस्टमर इज नॉट दैट क्लियर, नॉट गिविंग द रिक्वायरमेंट प्रॉपरली, और नॉट एबल टू डेवलप प्रोडक्ट with that small sort of requirement. So give them a clarity by showing the prototype. Okay. Whenever developer are new to the domain, previously your developer is working in healthcare domain, now you are switching him to e-commerce domain, now they don't know about this domain, right, how things works. So it's better to like develop a prototype first and try to give them clarity and then go with actual software development. Okay. The customer is new to the software itself. If they don't know how software can help them, basically show them prototype, give them idea, they will give you requirement. Got it, everyone?
Yes, no, anything guys?
Yes, sir.
Cool. देखो तुम्हारी इंडस्ट्री में वाइडली यूज्ड यही सारे मॉडल है. एक तो अजाइल है, एक VNV मॉडल है और एक प्रोटोटाइप है. These are the widely used models. Apart from this, there is not that frequently used model. Although waterfall is there, but उसको भी थोड़ा tweak कर दिया है आज के जनरेशन के हिसाब से. So basically, if you go to the industry and you started working, most probably, because 80 to 85%, I'll say, some people say that 90% companies are nowadays using agile only, not pure agile, but they have also like do some sort of changes in the agile process according to them. But overall जो तुम देखोगे इंडस्ट्री में काम आजकल जो हो रहा है वो वाटरफॉल पे ही हो रहा है, सॉरी अजाइल पे ही हो रहा है. तुम भी अगर जा रहे हो और काम कर रहे हो तो डेफिनेटली बेसिकली यू विल बी वर्किंग इन अजाइल. ठीक है. So why in this particular agile classes, try to be attentive, try to understand everything, because these models are only telling you how the framework will be, a framework of project will be there, what all stages will be there. But agile is a project management process. It's just not a model, it's a project management process. So it will tell you each and everything, how to manage the whole project. वो एक एक प्रोसेस बताएगा तुमको अजाइल की, तुमको हर जगह पे तुम्हारा रोल क्या है, दूसरे का रोल क्या है, क्या प्रोसेस फॉलो हो रही है, कितनी मीटिंग्स करनी है दिन में, और क्या करोगे तो तुम्हारा प्रोजेक्ट पूरा मैनेज अच्छे से होगा. तो इसमें ऐसा कुछ नहीं है बाकी सारे मॉडल में. दे विल जस्ट टेलिंग यू दैट दिस इज द फ्रेम, this is the first stage, this is the second stage, this is the third stage. But agile will also tell you in this stage what you have to do, what is your role, what is others role, what is your role. So basically that's why agile is widely used. और भी पॉइंट्स है why agile is widely used, जब agile पे आएंगे हम लोग तो पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है. So we are left out with two more model. First one is BNB and second one is hybrid. ये कल पढ़ेंगे and then we'll start agile. Agile will also take like 2 days I guess, and then we'll have one more class to complete STLC and test plan.
then we are done with manual testing. So somewhere around 5 days classes are left. As I said, 1 week और लगेगा. So 5 days के बाद your manual testing will be over. Okay. Try to prepare for mocks and all. If they conduct mocks, you should be able to answer everything. ठीक है? Got it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Cool. So yeah, any questions before we wrap it up for today, guys? Any question, any concern? No? Okay then. See you guys tomorrow.